Hi, I'm Cara Sue Achterberg, and I'm going to read to you from my novel that's just coming out. I'm Not Her. It's being published by The Story Plant. I opened it with a quote, and you have to forgive me with these glasses, so hopefully they don't make me look too old. This quote is from Bob Dylan, one of my favorites. I wish that for just one time you could stand inside my shoes, and just for that one moment I could be you. Chapter 1. It's a Tuesday like any other when I stop in the Shop and Save to grab the weekly donuts for the staff meeting. I'm not invited to the staff meeting, but that's not the point. I'm only an assistant claims adjuster. Truth be told, I don't really adjust anything except everyone else's paperwork. I don't eat donuts either. Too much sugar, white flour, and fat. Waiting in line, I study Leanne like I always do. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by her. Sometimes you can't divert your eyes from things that repulse you. The back of the cashier's stand cuts into her butt, dividing it in two and causing her fat to pile on the stand like newspapers waiting to be delivered. That can't be comfortable. It must leave lines on her skin the same way my lawn chairs tattoo the back of my thighs. Leon's stringy, dirt-colored hair usually hangs in her face, but some days, like today, she pulls it back on one side with a tiny pastel-colored plastic barrette, the kind my mother uses on her Shih Tzu. Her teeth are straight but yellow, and the only makeup she wears is a garish green eyeliner. Leanne calls for a price check and waits, picking at her nails. I don't have time for this. I'm already late. I'd skip it, except the donuts make everyone else at the office somewhat indebted to me. The fashion magazines catch my attention, and I mentally compare myself to each of the cover models. I look up to see Leanne roll her eyes at the nervous woman who says she doesn't need the olives anyway, so forget the price check. When the man in front of me steps up, Leanne nods at him. He teases her. It's charitable flirting. I arrange my groceries on the belt and smile blandly at the man as I reach over his groceries for a plastic divider. He looks me over appraisingly and starts to say something, but is cut off by Michael Jackson's Thriller, a telling ringtone for a balding white man. I'm not certain of the next chain of events. I remember Leanne wrestling with the change drawer. She can't slip the credit card receipt in the slot because something is blocking it, so she begins shaking the machine to shift the contents. The oversized metal Valentine's Day card attached to the lane pole begins to sway as Leanne's bulk rattles the cash register. Sometimes events happen in slow motion and your brain freezes and you simply watch the train wreck or the car accident as it happens, never moving to avert disaster. I see something large crash towards me. I wonder briefly why I don't move out of the way. Then everything goes black. I feel a funny floating sensation, like I'm a balloon lifting off. I see the nasty linoleum grocery floor receding from view, and it's all eerily surreal until a powerful surge, kind of like the time I touched the static ball in physics class, rushes through me and I'm slammed back to reality. When the grocery store comes back into focus, something has shifted. I'm standing behind the register, which is crazy because I can see myself clearly lying on the floor as blood pools around my head. The manager kneels next to my body, frantically stuffing magazines under my head. I know I'm not dead because I hear my own voice asking, "What happened?" No one answers. A small black guy appears next to my body and says, "Shit," in a voice that seems more annoyed than horrified, before picking up the Valentine's display that inflicted this trauma. As I watch myself, all I can think is the blood is ruining my newest Ann Taylor jacket and I'm not doing anything to prevent it. I'm just lying there, growing whiter. But then I realize I'm not lying there, I'm standing here. To verify this fact, I look down at my hands and notice that they have deep creases at the wrists. I shiver and try to refocus. My head is pounding, and as I bring my hand to my head, I'd almost swear I brushed by boobs. I've never been more than a 32A, so the shelf I encountered doesn't make sense. But then again, none of this makes sense because how can I be standing here with a throbbing head if I'm lying on the ground covered in blood? I try to move, but I'm trapped in the cashier stand. When I turn to get out, I feel my stomach pressed against the bars from the bag rack. Another checkout clerk, the older one with a mustache whose hands always shake when she bags groceries, looks right at me and says, "You all right, Leanne? That Valentine display clocked her good, huh? A lot of blood. Guess it weren't attached to that pole so tight." This cannot be happening. Somehow I'm trapped in the body of Leanne, and that doesn't make sense. I need things to make sense. I'm a practical person. I don't read science fiction. I don't believe in God, and I'm not the least bit superstitious. I'm in control of my life, my future, and most certainly my body. This cannot be happening. When I try to move, I have to wedge my hips out of the checkout booth. People swarm the lane and someone produces a blanket. When I step out into the exit aisle and look at myself lying on the floor next to the rack full of chewing gum, chocolate bars, and travel-size hand sanitizers, my world begins to spin. I stumble back to the bench where old men typically sit waiting for their wives. It's been cleared by the excitement of my accident. I sit down, shocked that my butt doesn't completely fit on the bench, and watch. Emergency personnel come and lift me onto a stretcher. Someone opens my purse and finds my identification. I listen to the woman mispronounce my name. It's Karen Fletcher. Karen sounds like car-in, just like it's spelled, but no one ever says it right. They say Karen, and so does the woman with the orange hair and black roots as she places my purse next to me on the stretcher. The me on the stretcher appears to be unconscious now. The me on the bench can't utter a sound. After the ambulance leaves, the manager comes and sits next to me. Leanne, I need you to tell me exactly what happened. I look at him like he's nuts, because he must be. This can't be happening. I read his name badge. It says Vernon Slick, assistant manager. I don't say a word. I just allow my mind to fumble along with this. I stare at him. He sighs and opens his cell phone. I'm going to call corporate and let them know what happened. You look a little spooked. Maybe you should go lie down in the break room. I don't move. I just watch him like he's a science documentary. I'm fascinated, but completely uninvolved. When a voice comes on the line, he gets up and begins to pace the aisle, explaining what's happened. When he's finished, he yells, Phyllis, come take Leanne back to the break room. Have her lie down for a few minutes, and somebody take down the rest of those damn Valentine promotionals before anybody else gets hurt. The other cashier, the one with the mustache, puts her hand on my shoulder and looks down at me kindly. When I don't move, she puts her other hand under my elbow and lifts. My elbow rises with her, but the rest of me remains on the bench, anchored by the extra 200 pounds and the shock of what is happening. She lets go of me and says, come on, Leanne, don't make a fuss. The registers are backing up. Her expression is equal parts frustration and pity. I don't know what else to do, so I heft myself off the bench and follow her. My thighs rub together uncomfortably, and more than once I knock into customers as I figure out how much space I require. Right in front of the canned tuna, Phyllis stops and asks, you all right? You look kind of sick. I just stare at her, wondering when I'm going to wake up. She shrugs, I got to get back to my register. She turns and scurries back up the aisle. I sigh and wait. I close my eyes and I try to relax my body. Maybe I'm hallucinating. I take deep breaths. A woman with an overflowing shopping cart stops in front of me. She's watching me expectantly, and I think she's about to explain it all or shout, gotcha, and point to the reality show cameras. I stare back at her, and she raises her eyebrows. I don't know what she wants to say, so I finally blurt out, what the hell's going on? She glares at me and growls, can you let me by? I'm blocking the aisle. I try to apologize, but really there's no explaining myself, so I back up against the cans of tuna and let her by. I'm not sure how it could be possible, but this is real. I'm not dreaming. I can click my heels together and take all the deep breaths I want, but I will still be this fat woman with hair in my eyes and sweat behind my knees.